I'm hungry for it, man. You know I gotta get it. I hit the ground running. You know I gotta get it. I see that money coming. You know I gotta get it. I gotta get it, gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta get it. Whatever's necessary. You know I gotta get it. Bullshit is secondary. You know I gotta get it. They say we legendary. You know I gotta get it. I gotta get it, gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta get it.
What up, what up? It's your homeboy Maul the Pimp, aka MTP, and welcome to another special edition of the Pimpoholic Tv Podcast. I have a very special guest in here. This guy is running for the upcoming election, Democratic nominee for the seat of DA, District Attorney. I'm talking about Mr. John Brooks. Welcome to Pimpoholic TV. How you doing, Mr. Brooks?
I'm doing well. This should be interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. So what we're going to do is ask a few questions, get some background, and then which lead up to why you decided to run for DA, and then win the seat, what kind of things you plan to do and how would you handle certain cases, kind of let people know you as a person and kind of see where you're at mentally, and what your morals are, how you think, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I grew up in Hamilton County, in Ooltewah. We were dairy farmers out there.
All right.
And my family's lived there for a long, long time.
Okay.
My mama was a school teacher, and my dad taught us how to work at a very early age. When I was about 7 or 8, he put me out in the lot, clean up, scrape up manure. And I figured that trained me well to be a politician and a lawyer. Now, went to Ooltewah High School, graduated from there, went to West Point for a year, came back, and there weren't any girls up there at that time, and went to UT, undergraduate law school, became a long-haired hippie when I had hair, and always wanted to take care of folks. So it sort of led me to the criminal law area. I felt comfortable there. Only time I made the best grade in the class was criminal clinic. I didn't do it any other time.
All right.
Came back home because my family's from here. Worked as a legal services attorney, then took a detour and went and worked for a company called Merrill Lynch for a decade. Learned about stocks and bonds. Then a friend of mine, Ardina Garth, was district attorney, and I decided I wanted to practice law again. She took me in and let me work for her for free, and eventually hired me.
Okay.
Did that for about 4.5 years, and then went out on my own and have been on my own for the last 30 years. I believe in politics. Now I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat my whole life. I think that, and I firmly believe these two things that make me a Democrat, that we're all the same, we just come in different wrappers.
All right.
And that a woman has an absolute right to control her own body. That to me is what I believe.
A woman has a right to do what now?
To control her own body.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, so I was head of the Democratic Party here a couple of terms. Ran for and became county commissioner in 2006, got beaten 10. Tried to run again, lost again. But I've always cared about politics.
Right.
And I was looking at this race, and I believe, very qualified to do it. But I think that my opponent doesn't have the experience.
Your opponent is, say her name? Who's your opponent? Is it Cody?
Yes.
Cody Wamp, right?
One of the Wamps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Chattanooga Cigar Club. Again, the Chattanooga Cigar Club. Let me tell you all about the Chattanooga Cigar Club. The Chattanooga Cigar Club is Chattanooga's premier cigar and hookah lounge, open Thursday through Sunday with ladies free on Friday and live music up until 10 o'clock. Keep in mind, you can also rent the building for your own events from Sunday through Wednesday. Shout out to my guys D. Scott and Kurt at the Chattanooga Cigar Club. For more information, log on to ChattanoogaCigarClub.com. Again, salute to my sponsor, the Chattanooga Cigar Club. Much love. Yeah.
So I like Neil Pinkston. I thought Neil was a decent guy.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
I know him personally, yeah.
And he's a fine fellow, but unfortunately, he was going to lose in that primary.
Okay.
About 2 weeks out before the, you had to file, I filed.
Okay.
I think the world of Neil. But his opponent who beat him scares me. And so that's why I'm running. One of the reasons I'm running.
You say the opponent who beat Neil, which would be Cody Wamp, she scares you.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? And what?
Inexperience.
Okay. Okay.
This isn't a job to do it without experience.
Right. Right.
And I think that she's shown at times a propensity to believe the police against people that don't look like the police.
I get that. I get exactly what you're saying.
And I've seen that, and that's just not the way it should work.
Right. That's interesting. Okay, that's very interesting. I know what you're saying when you say that. I know exactly what you're saying when you say that. Yeah. And that can be not good. Let me go back and then bring everybody up to speed. So initially, like I said, you were practicing law, public defender, lawyer, so you were defending clients, helping clients get off from criminal charges. So now you jump on the other side of the ship. You want to convict. I hear why you said you're running because of the client and things like that. But outside of that, what made you want to go from lawyer to DA instead of just continuing in law to help, I guess, get people off?
One other thing I do a lot of is I'm a guardian ad litem for children.
All right.
I represent at any one time 10, 15 to 20. I'll have 4 or 5 adopted a year. I don't think that the district attorney's office has done a good job protecting them and the elderly.
What's up? I got to give a special shout out to my sponsor, the AM Group LLC. Let me tell you all about the AM Group LLC. The AM Group LLC is an independent distribution company that offers essential services such as internet, home security, energy, identity protection, wireless, and more. Secure your homes and businesses. Get a free consultation from my homegirl, Miss Nori. Email the amgroupllc@gmail.com to schedule your appointment. You can also visit www.isnorinori.com. Click the services tab to check out all the deals that they offer. Salute to my sponsor, the AM Group LLC. Much love. Y'all go check them out. Yeah.
Now, you're right. I've defended people my whole life.
Right.
But there are 2 sides to the issue. If somebody has killed somebody, it's a crime unless you've got a defense like self-defense or something.
Right.
That needs to be prosecuted.
Right.
I think I've learned enough over the years that I'll be a tough DA. Meaning, you won't fool me. I think that every prosecution should be handled, well, I know it's different going to the other side. Yeah, I guess definitely. I'll have to wear a different hat, but anyway.
So let me ask you this. We're going to ask from both sides. Now, when you was a lawyer and you was defending the client and you felt in your heart this person was innocent, he got found guilty. Maybe because the DA had a good relationship with the judge, maybe because they presented a better case than you, but the bottom line is he got found guilty and you felt in your heart he was innocent. That's one thing. Now, the flip side of it is this. Say if you're the DA, your job is to convict. The evidence may not add up, but it's your job to go in there and convict. How do you approach that? If you're the DA who's assigned the case.
Okay, let me go through both scenarios.
Okay. Do that.
I think it's one of the worst feelings in the world if you're representing someone that you believe is innocent and they're convicted.
Right.
That concerns me more than anything when I go out there. Now, on the other side, you talk about looking at this to convict. The DA is supposed to bring justice. He is not supposed to convict, or she, just because there's a case. They're supposed to bring justice to the situation. What I mean is, if winning is your only concern, then you shouldn't be a district attorney. I think you should have competent, good trial attorneys, but doing the right thing is more important, I believe.
That's very true. That's very true. And the reason I ask you that, because you have some DAs who just look at it as a job. You know, this is the charge. I've been presented with this case. Even though I don't feel strongly about it, let me go forward with it. And I guess it makes you look better as a DA the more convictions you get, however that little game goes right there. So some people take it as a job as opposed to going into it morally.
Well, and I'm talking about more serious cases. You know, if you've got a DUI charge, okay, try it. Put a jury in there, and and see. But I'm talking about when you charge a person with a serious Class A or B felony, be sure that you've got something that happened, and hopefully that you have a good case. You know, I'm talking about murders. I'm talking about arsons, any kind of sexual battery. Those kind of things you should pay more attention to and know that you're doing the right thing.
Now, say as a DA, when we're talking about these Class A and Class B felonies, and the person is convicted, meaning if you're the DA, the person is convicted, what would determine whether you go for the minimum or the maximum sentence?
Trial record.
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be other factors, but prior record is something there. If they did something that was particularly bad, there's enhancements and mitigating factors that you're supposed to use in sentencing. But the more times you go in and get convicted of something, usually that makes a difference.
Okay. Now, when the defendant is coming to court and they have a court-appointed lawyer versus a paid lawyer, does it make a DA, do the DA look at that different? Like if it's a paid lawyer, I know we're going to have to actually go to war here. If it's a court-appointed lawyer, it shouldn't be as bad. This court-appointed lawyer has 75 cases. This guy just wanted 75, so they're going to come in there, make a quick offer, make a quick plea deal. We're going to get him out of here. You understand what I'm asking?
Oh, I understand, and there's a lot of truth in that. If you've got an attorney that has 10 cases that morning, it's hard for him to spend a whole lot of time with you, rather than if you have one that's walked in. The system is always fair with the better lawyer that you have.
Right.
I mean,
so what if I have me a court-appointed lawyer and he's just not, as you're saying, able to spend a lot of time on my case? He doesn't present the strongest case to the DA. Does it mean I'm actually guilty, or is it more just, the lawyer didn't word it right, or he didn't go to bat like he should have? So now I probably could have got 3 to 5 years or got off as opposed to getting 15 to 20 if I would have had the right lawyer that I couldn't afford.
Well, I don't know. Every situation is going to be different. And I can tell you that the vast majority of appointed attorneys are good lawyers. The question is how much time. One thing that could help people in your scenario where you get an appointed attorney, the state should pay them more. They haven't raised the amount they've paid appointed lawyers in 25 years. Okay? Now, I practice in federal court, different over there. full contact.
Right.
But I think that the vast majority of, shouldn't say that, the majority of appointed attorneys try their very best.
Okay.
If you can hire the best, you always want to get the best.
Right.
I mean, if you're out hiring a plumber, you want someone who is the best, not just one who tries her.
Right. Right. Now you say you represent federal cases.
Yes, sir.
That was your prior history. So now, from what we understand, the feds have like a 99% conviction rate. A conviction rate is through the roof, pretty much. So when you take on a client's federal case, it's just pretty much like, I know he's going to get found guilty, so it's pretty much just me representing him to go and get his time, a decent amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Because most likely he's not walking out of there. Most likely.
2 of my last 7 clients down there have gotten probation.
Federal?
Yes.
They cooperate?
They didn't find them, but the point is, even with cooperation, you don't get that much off. You can do a lot of good for people out there. Now, I'm going to tell you that as far as trials, only one time have I gotten a not guilty, but I have done that. Hung a jury down there on a couple of occasions. I'm not trying to say it's a full contact sport. You're going to generally lose because they have better cases. If you're handling a drug case down there, it's not like they caught somebody with an 8-ball in their pocket. They probably have 3 cells recorded with a guy that bought it and they've tested the drugs. I mean, when you see something like that, your job, I think, there is to mitigate the sentence.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
I got another question about that before we cross over. In the federal situation, I've seen this a few times. Every once in a while, you have a guy that's really not guilty of what he's charged with, but he's guilty by association. Mm-hmm. They're watching this guy, and you hang with these guys a lot, and plus you do have a criminal background. So now when they come to offer you, say, 5 to 7 years, you say, but I didn't do it. But you're scared to go to court and try to take a chance on fighting it because you're going to get found guilty because of your background and because you have been seeing surveillance pictures with these guys. So you pretty much, based on your background and based on what we see, you did it also. So how many times have you seen or had to defend somebody who you felt like, I know you didn't do it, but you better not go to trial. You better take this 5 years. It's better than going to getting 30. Even if you didn't do it, just take the 5.
More than 20, maybe 40 times. Now, you said that didn't do it. Now, let me back up a little bit. Let's say there were penny ante drug dealers. Back years ago, people that bought ephedrine and all, and they were making meth. Sure, they were playing in it, but those kind of cases, usually they have the cells and everything. And should those people be in prison? Maybe not. But if you take it to trial and you lose, there are penalties in the federal criminal sentencing laws that will just hammer you.
Right. Now, say if you're on the DA side and you have it's whatever the case may be, I've always wanted this. Sometimes does the outcome, meaning, I guess from the DA perspective, meaning whether you can go for the minimum or maximum penalty, does the outcome pretty much, how a court case is determined based on relationships? Meaning if the DA has a good relationship with the judge and the lawyer doesn't, the client is probably in trouble. But if the lawyer has a good relationship with the judge and the DA doesn't, he might get a little more lenient on his sentence. You understand what I'm saying? Like, have you seen situations like that?
It never hurts to know the judge by his first name or her first name.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Nice answer. Nice answer. Now, if you had a case as a DA and the person was convicted, and then some kind of way you found out later on down the line that he might have didn't do it, or somebody came forward and admitted that they did it and not this person. Do you let it be, or do you come back and try to fight to get it overturned, even though you were the DA that convicted him? How would you approach a situation like that?
If I believed he was innocent, I'd do everything in my power to get him out of jail.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't be an easy guy to convince, but if you convince me, doing the right thing's important.
I put myself in a situation. Say, okay, I'm charged with a murder. I've been saying for day one, I didn't do it. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. But it looks like I did, I guess. Well, however way I'm convicted. 6 years later, Joe Smith comes out the woodwork and say, hey, I had a guilty conscience. That murder from 2022, that guy didn't do it. I was the one that did it.
I would think, and that's happened before. I think what you're looking for is something scientific. You know, if I was going to go back and challenge a case like that, I'd see if there was any DNA evidence in any way to connect this guy to the second one. Hopefully I would do that at the very beginning. You know, when you ask about murder cases, I guess I've represented 50 or 60 people charged with murder over the years.
Okay.
Tried more than a handful of murder cases. There are times where we've taken pleas for a reason. There are times when we've gone to trial. If I found out somebody was innocent, I'd do everything in my power to get them out of jail. I can't answer it any more completely than that.
I get it. Now, also from the DA side, you have a case against the defendant. How credible is the testimony of a snitch to you as the DA? Before you answer, meaning this, whatever the charge is, we can make a charge up. Whatever this guy's charged with. Now here comes a guy from out of the blue saying, yeah, he did it. He told me. But also in the back of your mind, you know that this guy's willing to say anything to get his time cut. So if I got to say that this guy served a kilogram, or this guy robbed a store, this guy this guy killed somebody, if y'all gonna knock 15 years off my time, I'll say whatever you want me to say. So when you have snitches that come in court, how serious does the DA take that? Do you really question the testimony and say, what is his reason for this? Or do y'all,
anybody that was coming to trial to testify, the DA's already talked to him because he's the one calling it.
Right.
The defense would never call a snitch. A snitch is going to traditionally be somebody that's been in a cell pod with the defendant. And they come up and say, well, he's talking to me and he said blah, blah, blah. Now, that's an admission. That can come in. Now,
how do you know that's true that he said that, though?
Oh, you don't?
I mean, just because he's in a cell with the guy, he's coming to tell you, hey, the guy said this while he was in the cell after child. What makes that credible enough to bring him to court?
Well,
even though his goal is to get his time cut.
Well, what if he said some things about the defendant told him that fit the scenario of the crime that maybe weren't public or weren't talked about much? I think the DA has to judge the credibility of somebody like this before you bring him out at trial. If you don't believe him, then don't call him. Now, if you believe him, call
him. Right. I knew a guy that was on the case, and one of the people that testified against him, he didn't even know. Mm-hmm. Now it was like, say it was this guy, this will be the guy I'm talking about. Him and this guy, these two were on a charge together. This guy knew the third person. The third person came in trial and also pointed at him. So his whole thing was like, he said, I don't even know this dude. He's taking a stand against me, and I never met this guy before. And that testimony was used. So Not saying you were doing anything like that, but I wonder how situations like that work. I've never met this guy. He testified against me saying we were involved in such and such things together. Maybe he was involved in something with the partner I'm charged with, but I don't know the guy personally. I've never seen this guy. But his testimony is going to stick on me, technically because he got real testimony on somebody that I'm affiliated with. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand. It's, again, the district attorney has to, and understand there's a lot of DAs. If a good trial lawyer is trying his case, he meets with the witness. If he believes the witness, then he should call him. If he doesn't, he shouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, in the defense lawyer, what they are supposed to do is cross-examine them. I mean,
right.
You know, when you get somebody up there that you know is lying, I mean, my God, you know they're lying, and you say, well, you wouldn't lie to get your sentence cut. No, not for, and I've had it happen.
Right.
So juries are pretty smart, smarter than we give them credit for.
Okay. All right.
So if they're just totally non-believable, they'll discount that.
All right.
But that's the situation when you're talking about having a real good lawyer. That's when you need one.
A situation like that. Okay. I always wanted to ask the DA this question right here. So a person's been found guilty. You're the DA. Now here comes time for sentencing. How important, or how much do you before sentencing? How much do you consider if they have character witnesses to speak on their behalf? Does that really matter? Is that really going to help you?
No.
Hey, so if I get found guilty and then the preacher comes forward and say he's been in church 20 years, he worked with the kids, somebody else comes forward and say he's done so much community work.
Well, it depends on what they've been charged and found guilty of. If it's a crime of passion about a person killing somebody, okay, it might make a difference.
Okay.
But
for the most part, no. Because I've been asked a few times to write a letter to the judge. He has sentencing next week, and a few times I've been asked that. I've never done it because I say I don't think it's going to help the sentence.
Now, believe it or not, letters are helpful.
Really?
They can be. What you were talking about is coming up into court and all, but a letter from somebody saying something personal, a judge should generally read those letters. He has a chance to think about it. And I found that to be more effective. Now, if you got somebody coming in who knows the judge personally, that's effective.
Of course.
And I've seen that done before. But anyway.
Okay. So, John Brooks, when you step in office, it's to say, considering you win, man, your main goal is to what? I heard you say something about protecting the kids and stuff like that. As a DA, what are you setting out to do? Of course, you want to convict people who are guilty, but what other things people need to know about?
I think we should concentrate resources on violent crimes. I think that we need to prepare those cases early. You can't wait 4 and 5 years. You need to get testimony down early. I would think that those are areas where I want the best attorneys I have to concentrate
on.
Right. I don't think marijuana cases, let's decriminalize it, let's legalize it. To hell with it. You know, the fact is that I ain't going to spend much time ever worrying about that. Okay. And I think there are cases that clog up the system.
Okay.
You know, I'd like to see a statewide a good drug treatment program where we could put people that are in criminal court in a facility that could give them 5 or 6 months of time to be sober.
Okay.
And that's beyond what I can do. But, you know, drug addiction, but as far as marijuana is concerned, we shouldn't deal with it.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So, Mr. Brooks, let them know when the election is, when is the first day for early election. How can they follow your campaign, your website, all the stuff that people need to know?
The website is brooksforda.com.
Okay.
I have smart people putting things on there. I don't know what the hell I'm doing as far as that's concerned.
All right.
But the election's August 4th. Early voting begins July 15th, I believe.
Okay.
Anybody in Hamilton County can vote in this election. I believe that I'll do a good job. I will work hard at it. I work at it every day. And I think I can make it a safer place. Now, personally, you know, we could do so much more. I was in the Army and I understand what an assault weapon is. Nobody needs an assault weapon out here. They just don't.
Right. Okay.
But raise the age to 21 for kids to buy things like that.
All right.
It's got to be 21 to buy a beer. I guarantee you the beer is better for you than an AR-15.
Right.
But you asked me what I'll do.
Right.
I'll spend my time protecting the weakest. I'd like to see young people left without a record if I can possibly do that. I think that the DA should be looking out at Silverdale every day. They don't treat people out there with any dignity.
Yeah, we heard.
And I mean, it's dangerous. People are dying of drug overdoses and getting cut, getting hurt. And my opponent works out there. She's the attorney for the sheriff. The sheriff's in charge of the jail, and that's her home bailiwick.
Okay.
I've never seen it run worse.
Okay.
Look, if you treat people with a little bit of respect, I think we can do a better job.
All right.
But anyway, that's an area that I would pay a lot of attention to.
Okay. I like your approach, man. I like you seem sincere, in my opinion. In my opinion, you seem very sincere, and I like a lot of the answers you were giving. I was just picking your brain to kind of see what do you think, because I'm asking questions that's been sent to me that I know people want to know from that perspective. So that's why I was kind of rambling and just going all over the place and saying, you know, where you at. Yeah.
Well, it's effective. Look,
yeah.
You know, you want to know who I am and the people listening to this podcast.
Right.
I ain't flying under false colors.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know,
gotcha.
I believe this.
Right.
Gosh, I truly think that we can make it a better place. I think that the system can be run better, more effectively. And I think that young men, both black and white, come into the court system and we hand out felonies like it's confetti.
You're right.
You get a felony on your record, you're going to have a hard time ever making a successful living.
Right.
So, on the other side of the coin, if you shoot somebody, that's not good. You should go to jail when you shoot somebody.
I understand that. I definitely understand that. Well, y'all heard from John Brooks again. Before we get out of here, we're going to wrap up. Say the election date again and early election. Give it to him one more time.
Okay. My website is brooksforda.com. Early vote begins July 15th. runs through the 30th. The election is Thursday, August the 4th, and it's anybody in Hamilton County.
August the 4th election, he's running under the Democratic Party. So that's something to think about, y'all. John Brooks running for DA as a Democrat. And this is your homeboy, Maul the Pimp, a.k.a. MTP. And that was another special edition of the Pimpoholic TV Podcast. Hopefully y'all were educated. Y'all got to get a vibe of how he feels personally about certain things so you can make a decision who you want to vote for. So go to my website, www.maulthepimp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called Pimpoholic TV. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter @Maul the Pimp. And again, thanks, John Brooks. We out here, y'all.